So, no, actually, this reminds me of fun fact from my recent trip to Argentina. So, guess what is the alternate layer one that it is, that the like people just like using cryptocurrency on the ground for commerce in Argentina are using most often? That, as far as I can tell.
Bitcoin?
No, Bitcoin's also expensive, right?
Oh, okay.
It's one where transactions are extremely cheap.
Okay, well, let's go through it. Is it Matic?
No.
Is it okay? Not Matic. Is it Terra?
No.
Solana?
Wait, I think you might be right, Ryan. I think it's Tron.
Binance? Is it going to be Tron?
Okay, Tron is probably one of the number two. Like, what's the number one?
Binance Chain?
It's Binance. Not Binance Smart Chain, Binance Decentralized Exchange.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
For you know, like for doing what? What are they doing on Binance?
Like they just like need cryptocurrency for payments. Like one of them was just a coffee shop that accepted crypto. There are a couple of other businesses. Like when I ask if I can pay with ETH, they just show me the QR code of a deposit address, and like it's just obvious that they're used to like Binance to Binance transfers, which are instant, right? And like my Ethereum to Binance transfer has to wait for 12 confirmations in the app. Yeah, there we go. That's, so far that's the Ethereum killer.
So is Binance like an alternate layer one in your mind? Or like, I've always thought of like
ultimately it is, right? Like, sure, it's
so.
like a guy's database, but, if we're talking about people who don't care about the level of decentralization, then, like,
Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. Can you believe what you just heard? That was Vitalik Buterin. Of course, he is the person who wrote the white paper behind Ethereum. My mind was just blown when I heard this. Imagine getting back from Argentina, having been toured around by JP Morgan, and to make this statement. Can you imagine what JP Morgan is thinking? Well, I do think it's becoming very apparent that these new layer one blockchains like Binance, Terra, Phantom, Solana, Avalanche, and soon to come Flare networks, there's going to be a lot of demand for the cheaper blockchains. This is what people want to do. They want to transact with these smart contracts. And I just don't know what in the world people who are in the Ethereum ecosystem big time are thinking. Well, I think you want to see the video in its entirety. It's 2 hours long. It's on the Bankless YouTube channel. These guys did a great job. I think it's one of the best interviews I've seen in a long time. I'll put a link to it in the comment section below. You got to hear, though, this second clip because I think it is going to equally blow your mind. Hang on.
Vitalik, give us kind of the high-level overview. So we started this episode. You said you felt like you could be convinced in saying that Ethereum is maybe 50% of the way done. Okay? Mm-hmm. Does the end of these things, after the merge, surge, purge, verge, splurge, are we at 100% at that point in time? Is everything done?
I would say so. There are a couple of these longer-term extras that we haven't talked about, but it would probably take too long for us to talk about all of them. But I feel like, and I do think that, like, none of these roadmaps are final, right? Like, these roadmaps are kind of my attempt to reflect the current rough consensus of the research team. So, like, there are new things that did not exist before, right? Like, PBS did not exist a year ago, and so you did not see PBS in last year's roadmap. So there might be a couple of things, but I think once all of these things are done, like, I will say this. If this is all done and then nothing else ever changes after that, then I'll be extremely happy, right? Now, like, I feel like this covers everything that's, like, necessary for Ethereum to not only survive, but even thrive going into the long term.
So Ethereum is... I was just going to ask as well the timeline. So Ethereum is 6 years old. How long is this going to take? Is this going to take another 6 years?
I could definitely see all this happen in 6 years. Yeah.
And what would this mean for anyone who is still living a life on the layer one? With the expansion of the number of shards and also the size of shards, Does that mean L1 gas fees are going to come down, or what's the deal with that?
I mean, in the short term, maybe, but I think realistically, in the long term, using L1 is just going to keep getting more and more expensive. So you, like, as a user, I think, like, you do need to be prepared for the facts that Ethereum already is transitioning away from being a layer 1 centric ecosystem toward being a layer 2 centric ecosystem. Like today, the gains that you can make from switching to layer 2 are like maybe only 5x, but in the future there'll be 10x, and then there'll be 50x, and then there'll be 1000x. So eventually, all activity is going to have to transition to being layer 2. Eventually, even bridging from one layer 2 to another layer 2 is something that will mostly have to happen without layer 1s. And this is a change that users will have to get used to. I think it's a change that some users are starting to get used to already. But if they can do it, then everything other than that is going to be fairly under the hood for them.
Even that 6-year timeline didn't seem very convincing to me. This is the roadmap ahead, and it is a tremendous amount of work. At the end of the day, you really have to wonder, because there are new contenders coming fast and furious. The roadmap has 5 phases. At the top there, you see merge. That is where it becomes a proof of stake platform. Then there is surge. This is all about scalability. And then verge. This is the all contract storage. It's going to be replaced by a tree that stays up to date to verify the blocks with smaller, shorter, faster data, kind of where a fresh node can just jump right in. The validators will be very light. Then there's the purge phase. That is to eliminate the dead weight of the history, the historical chain load, and then splurge, which is a simplification of the code. It's a lot of work, so I am just truly speechless. Okay, we're going to shift gears just a little bit. I want to tell you that Swift updated their ISO 200.22. This is their page where they are announcing just 2 days ago that there is going to be an inflow translation service. And that is for the banks who are going to be slow to migrate to the rich data messaging, giving them up to 2025 to get their back end in order. Now, there are 2 important points in the next set of clips that I'm going to play for you. The ISO 200.22 is a standard messaging data language, all right, attached to the value of those flows. It is not about settlement of a payment, but I hear a lot of information out there that maybe is positioning this much differently than it really is. So I just want you to really understand what the ISO 200.22 does.
So what is ISO 20022? So it's a new global message standard. So the MT that we all use and love today has been around since the late 1970s. And we're going to be moving to the new MX language, which we're likely to be using for the next 30 or 40 years. It's a new financial messaging system that is already used in over 70 countries worldwide. It's a new universal language. It's going to be the de facto standard in over 80% of value transactions globally for high value payments. It's a new message standard. It's universal, transferring financial information from payments to securities to settlement between financial institutions. It's going to bring much more flexibility, but with certainty of content. We're going to be transferring more data than we've ever transferred before, but in a much more structured format. We have access to the data dictionary, which lists out all of the fields, and we know exactly how to use them. And it's both human and machine readable, so really helping with those automation processes.
Rather than thinking about ISO 200.22 as a payment technology, it's a set of toolkits to better use the data we already have in a more efficient way.
Okay, thank you, John. Indeed, SWIFT is at the heart of the correspondent banking today, and we transport more than $400 billion per day today. And I recognize some of the issues mentioned earlier, and the speed, the cost, the transparency of costs to the people involved in cross-border payments. We recognize those, and indeed, what are the big question is, what are the reasons, and are they to be, but by what can those be solved? And different reasons. Indeed, you mentioned ISO 20022, the standard. There are too many languages out there, and we all speak English at the moment to understand each other. I think if we would all speak our own language, for me Dutch, I don't think many people would get to me. So we need to agree on a common language, and the world is moving to ISO 20022. But of course, that takes a bit of time before everybody has adopted the full ISO 20022. So common language, standardized language.
So Jungle Inc., he had a very interesting tweet. Ripple will settle with Gary Gensler soon. Who will be the next victim? The US crypto exchange? Cardano? A DeFi project? Or a stablecoin issuer? Well, you can see I clicked on the US crypto exchange, but what I wish he had is all of the above, because I think all of these are going to be in trouble. All right, I saw this picture and I thought, oh no, Mike Novogratz, not my Luna. Wow. Yeah, just wow. The space just wows me sometimes. All right, we are definitely jumping to the fluff. We're going to talk about the auction of the big tuna that took place today. This is the first business day in Japan, and it did take place, and I talked a bit about it in last video, and I just want to tell you what that price came in at. It was caught right off of Aomori here in the Suguru Straits, which is just below Hokkaido. And just to give you an indication of where you are in Japan, my mouse right now is on top of Tokyo. So it is up north in the area that have a lot of really big bluefin. And that was a big one that was caught, 211 kilogram. And it was, it was 5 o'clock this morning that they started the auction. And I have to say, unfortunately, it only brought 16 million yen. That is about 148,000 US dollars. So this is a very low year. And of course, that always gives kind of an indication of what the business sentiment is. And it just doesn't look really strong right now, I have to say. So if I move to what else happened today, this is the day that just goes crazy with these Fukuro Bukuros. These are lucky bags, and everybody gets into the action. I mean, even Kentucky Fried Chicken gets into the action. I saw what was in theirs. They were giving away a tote bag with a lot of coupons. And the stores will put them on their shelves. They'll put them on tables. They'll even set up little displays outside in front of the store. And they really are an incredible value. It's not like you're getting junk. You can spend maybe $30 US and get $150 at retail of items. So it is something that everybody looks forward to, and everybody kind of puts in their targets, their favorite store. Uniqlo was very popular today. Also, I can show you another. This is just another typical example. They're so fun, and I think rarely are you disappointed. Yeah, rarely are you disappointed when you buy one of these. They really go all out to make it a big value. Look at Rock 10. Rock 10 even just had many bags of gourmet goods from different areas of the country. This is one that is from Hatsu, and they put together a bag that you could buy for 5,400 yen. That's little under $50. And I don't know what they said. I can't really see what they usually tell you what the price is, of course, and then they tell you what the value is inside. So I'm not sure, but there were so many to choose from. 3,000, that's like $30, $50, 80, 100. It's very fun. But the number one place that had the line that just wouldn't end is Caldi Coffee Farm. And the reason why is because they were doing one box that had a chance to win a bottle of Dom Perignon for just $10. So I heard that all of their Fukuro boxes were just gone in a matter of an hour. But there are lines for a couple of hours before people's favorite store so that they can get them, because they are always limited. And I think in keeping with my video about how we just need to have a little bit of fun, I want to share a little bit of fun with you. Let me show you this. This is a temple, very famous temple in Wakayama. And there is a monk there that's pretty famous. It's an UNESCO World Heritage Pilgrim route. And on this mountain range, see, I can't do the music, so sorry. On the mountain range, there's this Koyasan temple, and it has a talented monk. And he took the kids from the local high school. He dressed them in these robes, as you see. They shaved their heads too. The young girls there didn't shave their heads, but the boys all shaved their heads, which I think is really great. And then he choreographed a dance to cheer everyone. And this dance was so great that the candy company Moriaga said they wanted to collaborate with him and do a commercial of sorts. So that's what they did. And I did find, let me just find here for you. Let me get out of the big screen. It's really fun. I found an English translated version of the back scenes of the production of making it. And it's just really 2 thumbs up, really fun to watch. So I'll include this link in the description below too as well. All right, everybody. Yes, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.